Welcome back to FURYCAST. But first, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and of course, smash the bell for notifications. And don't forget to sign up to the mailing list for my new graphic novel, illustrated by the world-famous Ebi Canales. Sign up now. The link is in the description. He's a martial artist and is trained in Jeet Kune Do, Kali, Savate, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and of course, Eric Paulson's combat submission wrestling. He also owns the Los Angeles-based talent agency, Avant Artists. Today on FURYCAST, I welcome my friend, Chris Ahuja. Man, you're all the way in Los Angeles, California. I'm here in Houston, Texas. We are brothers bound by a couple things. One is jiu-jitsu. Do you do a little JKD as well?
I do. That's kind of how I started, to be honest.
Yeah, so we'll get into that. We're bound by JKD and jiu-jitsu. Also, the film and television industry that you're also a part of. Surprise, you're in LA and you're part of the film and television industry, right?
It's unusual.
How in LA, how often do you go to Starbucks and the person serving the coffee is an actor, then there's 12 screenwriters writing scripts? Is this a stereotype, or does this actually happen?
You know, the stereotype is I was in like a Culver City kind of adjacent neighborhood a few days ago, and it wasn't a Starbucks. It was just like some sort of sports restaurant bar place. And the waiters, you know, they're pretty attractive. And the person with me is not an actor. They're an engineer. And they said to me, they go, what are the odds? Let me ask you a question. What are the odds that, and I said, oh, they're an actor? Yeah. Straight up. She didn't have to finish her question. But Starbucks, it depends. It depends what part of the city it is. If you're further away, like getting deep in the valley, we were talking about the valley earlier.
Yeah, we had a long conversation about the valleys.
The different valleys. There's the San Fernando Valley, which includes Reseda, Tarzana, Sherman Oaks, Studio City. But there's also the city of San Fernando Valley. And as what Derrick mentioned, there's the San Gabriel Valley.
Where I'm from.
People in movies, TV shows, they always say the valley. They're referring to the LA part of. It's gonna get too confusing.
They're not referring to where I'm from, the San Gabriel Valley.
But San Gabriel Valley, if you want good Chinese food, Vietnamese food, you go there. You don't go to LA's Chinatown, where Bruce Lee had his original spot. That's still there, but everybody, many years ago, they moved out to San Gabriel Valley.
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, I've been gone since the early 90s, so I wonder how much it's changed since then. Yeah.
The Chinatown, the LA Chinatown, it's still a lot of places closed down, I think. And then there's, new places, but there's the OG spots.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like, what's the word? It's kind of a little depressed, that little pocket. Mm-hmm. It's right next to downtown. There's downtown, there's Chinatown. Downtown's busier with, different hip places and displacement of people just trying to survive. We'll get into that conversation in the next podcast.
So take me back on your journey.
Yeah.
How you got started in the martial arts, and then hopefully we can find a smooth transition into your current career.
Sure. I think about 2000. Okay.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell people a little bit about yourself.
Sure. This is my first podcast, by the way. My name is Christopher Ahuja. I'm a practitioner of jiu-jitsu and JKD and Savate. And I have a talent agency, Avant Artists, out here in Los Angeles. And it's good to connect with Derrick, who I met about a year and a half ago.
I think 1 year ago, actually, because August last year.
Yeah, 1 year. And that's who I am. I have a couple kids in the next room, so they might start yelling, but don't mind that.
How you pronounce the last name?
Ahuja.
Ahuja? Because I always see it on I see it, when I send you messages or whatnot on Instagram. Yeah. Where's that from?
I always tell people, since I've been a little kid, take a guess.
Filipino. No, I'm just kidding.
That's it. Yeah, that's a cool guess. It's not Filipino though.
But it does sound. It sounds Polynesian.
Someone said that to me before. I'll give you one more guess. Not Polynesian. One more guess, but I'll give you a hint.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Southeast Asian.
It's not Southeast Asian. Vietnamese. That's a joke because I mean every Vietnamese person I know is probably win, but
my better half right now is a win.
Yeah.
So no,
where's it one? Where?
South Asian.
South Asian. You tell me, bro.
India.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
My dad's from India.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So most people don't guess that.
The subcontinent of Asia. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Is that right?
That's what I've heard people say. Man,
Yeah,
I went to Houston. I went to Houston Independent School District, HISD. You think I learned much about India? You know,
maybe you may have.
I missed that quarter where we studied. I wish I would have, because later in life, when I say later, in my early 20s, I had a job and I worked with a lot of women that were from, India, Pakistan, and I really got along really well with them, and they would teach me words in their language, and then they would tell me to watch this movie. So I got really into watching Amitabh Bachchan movies and Shah Rukh Khan movies, and I'd come back and talk to them about the movies I watched. And so I really found an interest into that culture through these ladies and through film, so
I think that's what, for me, like for film and especially, movies. Yeah. You learn about, maybe not 100% correct, but that's where you learn about different cultures, different stories.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's food and movies. You watch movies from those cities, those countries. You start eating the food, countries, then you start to connect. That's how you learn about things.
Yeah, it's a great entry point. And we're especially a city like Houston, which is, I believe, the most I guess interracially mixed city in the country. Such an opportunity to learn about different people and what's going on, and experience a piece of their world, like through food, through music, through film, through the arts, basically. It's really, really interesting. So take me back on your martial arts journey.
Yeah, I think it was like 2000. Sorry, that was my weekly report available of how much screen time I've had. That might have ruined the podcast.
No, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah,
something came up. What happened? Something came up.
Oh
no, yeah, it didn't come up on this end. You're good.
Yeah, I think it must have been, I started my talent agency in 2008, and I think around 2000. Remember the movie Argo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we booked somebody on that movie, and it's okay if they watch this podcast and see it. And for some reason, they got really upset about something, and it was completely unwarranted. They were very unprofessional. And I got really scared. I got scared. Just like, I thought maybe they, find me and they want to fight. And I was like, I don't know how to fight.
This is one of your clients that got upset?
Yeah, a long time ago. They're not a client anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I got kind of scared, just, briefly. And I realized I don't know how to fight. I was like, I can't fight. If this dude came over, who's not really intimidating at all, but if he's acting crazy, what would I do? Obviously call the police, but might not be too reliable in that particular situation.
Yeah.
So I found a place pretty close by, and we talked about the Valley in Reseda. And
did it have Cobra Kai on?
It was pretty close to Cobra Kai vibes. Yeah, it was anyway. So I found that place, and they did a combination of JKD, C-Lot, Thai boxing, and some Kali. That was kind of the extent of it. And it was in an OG kind of place that had been there for years. Like when Karate Kid came out, I think they were there, in an old auto body kind of shop. So an interesting kind of place. And so I went there and I ended up training for a year and doing a lot of JKD, the classic JKD drills, a very well-known teacher.
Was it the like Junfan JKD, or was it like JKD concepts?
It was
Sounds
more
like the concepts, if they're doing
right.
all
There's
that
a whole
blend.
rivalry between
Yeah.
the subsets of the
Yeah.
martial art.
Which I'm
Because
all about learning it all, to be honest.
yeah, right. You don't have to learn that, but I think that particular place that was because they're all from Guru Dan and Asanto,
Hmm.
and so he's had all these different teachers.
Hmm.
It's an amazing career, and one of the teachers was a great teacher, and so he would teach the concepts. But what happened was I wanted to do some of the other things that were supposed to be offered. There was Silat, and we did some Thai boxing. Oh, and the Kali, which was kind of a combination class. But they told me there was a waiting list for the class, and I was like, "Oh, okay, waiting list. Well, okay, well, I'll put you on the waiting list if you have one." Long story short, I don't know if it really was a waiting list. So, um,
That's an
and
interesting technique to like
yeah,
make money. Tell
yeah.
lie and say there's a waiting list.
Uh, but I was, I'll be respectful. I'm like, hey, if there's a waiting list, by all means, put me on the list. And when I'm ready to join the class, let me know. Hopefully, I'll be still, it won't be in 20 years, but I found another place that actually had all the classes and so I switched schools and I hadn't done grappling yet at all. I think there was one little grappling seminar at one of the places, uh, but not consistent. And so then I found another place that had all these classes as well. I said, hey, do you guys have a waiting list? I want to do them all. And they laughed, said, no, we don't have a waiting list. And I said, great. And
We have a business. We're trying to make money. Would you like to pay us for classes?
and so then the other place, yeah, you have your Kali, some C-Lot, JKD, and a really good Savate program, also Thai boxing. And they didn't add jujitsu. I'm sorry, they did have a jujitsu program, but it was still kind of like not as consistent. It was a good purple belt who was teaching, really great guy. But later they brought a really well-known jujitsu teacher, old school, and that's how I found jujitsu from him. But I was doing a lot of the Kali, a lot of Savate, and got ranked in Savate. And then I just switched to just doing jujitsu. And then at some point during the pandemic, yeah, I had met Eric Paulson and Tanya Paulson at a Sensei Yuri Nakamura kind of a fundraiser. And in between all this, I was going to the Inasanto Academy a lot to do a lot of CLOT camps. So I did a lot of those. And I actually, before that, I did a seminar with Paul Paul Detoire, the old school, one of those original CLOT guys, which was pretty amazing and fascinating experience to do that. Because I think he unfortunately passed away pretty quickly after I did that seminar. So, but long story short, I keep saying that a lot, but I had met Tanya and Eric at this fundraiser at the Inasanto Academy. And that's when I first met them. And I ended up doing jujitsu at another school. And then during pandemic, I realized I was like, you know what? I miss all these other arts that I haven't done. I started doing them on my own because I was doing solo training. And then I kind of was doing different jujitsu curriculums, which really that was what opened up my mind to learning, because I didn't feel like I was learning that much at another school, which is a great school. But when I started doing solo training, I saw CSW stuff, very detailed curriculum, very easy to understand, very straightforward. Sometimes a lot of videos, it's an hour, someone's talking for an hour and they don't even show the technique. And I don't, for me, that doesn't really work. I can watch it, I can kind of visually see it, and then I can do it, and then I can drill it, and then I can start to implement it and practice it. So, and then I've been with CSW ever since in the coach program. And it's great to I think sometimes people think that first of all, you should be able to train with different people. You should have your school, like your main school, where you have your coach, your sensei, someone you can trust, and that they're going to guide you to keep learning. Because if you're not learning and all you're doing is just rolling, that's okay for people. But for me, I got to keep learning. Otherwise, I'll get really bored. I'll get super bored. So
Yeah.
during the pandemic, I was doing these different curriculums, and I was like, oh, I'm not doing this Darce choke correctly. What am I doing? And then I just can, take a few minutes. Let me correct my form. Let me watch it. Sometimes I would actually video it. And I have a degree in exercise physiology. So I study biomechanics and I study these different things. So you kind of have to watch, just like any sports. If you have a sports coach, they're watching your form when you're playing tennis, when you're playing baseball, playing football, playing golf. You're looking at the biomechanics. So I would watch what I was doing and start to analyze it and then fix it. And then, okay, I got it. You got to drill it. And from that point on, I've never looked back. And I think some people didn't really like the way I was trained. My old training partners are like, yeah, come back, come over here. I'm like, I'm doing these other things now. But the point is, you want to be able to train with other schools. You don't want to, get into the idea that you can only talk to people with a certain patch on their gi. That's silly. You don't ever want to do that. That's not helpful. And so, which was cool last weekend, CSW coach, or not coach camp, but grappling camp. They had Cade Rutolo, Javier Vasquez, and Master Higa Machado. And of course, Coach Eric teaching master workshop each day along with those guys. And they're all from different places. And so you learn how to learn. That's what it's about, learning how to learn. That's my story. It's great to talk with you. Have a great day.
No, that's really profound. And, say that again. It's great to learn how to learn. I really like that.
Learning how to learn, because like last weekend, all these teachers, essentially masters of their arts, you only have a couple minutes to do this technique. And so I've been like, if you go to a Guru Dan seminar, he does the same thing. He does maybe even more. He goes through it so quickly. So if you have 1 minute to do this drill, people who aren't used to it, they might kind of get anxious and I want to do it right. You might not do it right in that 1 minute, but that's okay. You're there to learn and learn how to learn. So you can't beat yourself up over it. You got to be relaxed. Sometimes I was training with somebody last week and I don't think they have as much experience. And so they're a little tense and they're, you don't have to be tense. It's relaxed. No, you're not like getting graded. As long as you pay attention, put your focus into it. Some people like to write notes. I don't write notes like for those things, but maybe later I will. Once the videos are uploaded, I'll analyze it. But yeah, people sometimes give themselves a hard time. Like I used to do that a long time ago, but it wasn't serving me. I'd get like sick. I'd be frustrated.
Yeah,
you gotta mellow out.
So that takes us all the way up to where you are now with CSW. Have you started taking on any students at all? Or are you still doing solo training? How's that going?
Oh, right before I joined the coach program with CSW, just by like happenstance, a doctor, a pediatrician is like, hey, I know you talk about jiu-jitsu a lot when you come in here with your kids. My son wants to learn. And I was still a blue belt, but my blue belt, all the blue came off because the pandemic. And so I was still technically a blue belt. But that person was my first student. And that was like a couple of years ago. So he was my first student. And so he went through the whole kind of transition of we're doing, basic things. I was using one curriculum and it was all right. But then once I joined CSW, which was shortly after, we were training a lot. I was teaching him a lot. And first we were doing virtually because that was early in the pandemic. And this guy, he's a young kid and he actually is a medical student. He actually got COVID when we were training and it was virtual though. And then he messaged me, he said, hey, hey coach, can we still train tonight? I got COVID. I'm like, yeah, we're doing a virtual. If you find if you feel fine, it's cool. And this dude, he had his dummy, which by the way, the Pro Boxing Supplies dummy. Coach Paulson told me he invented that.
Yeah.
There's something that happened between it, but he designed it. And I thought that was like really cool because the dummy, if done right, it's an important tool. But
Is that the one Rev Gear sells?
I don't know. Oh, that's another one.
That's a different one.
But there's another one that you see in a lot of pictures. It's like the main one, but he designed it. He actually did it. It doesn't say CSW on it though, but that's what he did. But this other student, yeah, he had COVID and he was coughing while he was doing some passing drills, and we were doing, I forget what curriculum we were working on at that point. But that was my first student, and so after that, I have a few other students, not a lot. I have my garage, but I made it into like a legit gym like in 2016, a long time ago. And so I just trained a handful of people. And yesterday, I had a kind of open mat birthday for the people who train. Not everyone trains, of course. But one of my other students, we was just doing privates, very specific curriculum that we use with CSW. And it was his first time rolling with other people, and the other people are pretty solid. They're very experienced, and they were, they knew he was new, and that was his first time, and everyone was really nice with him, teaching him little pointers here and there. But you could see his eyes, and just he felt so like accomplished. It's like literally he was a little afraid, like because he's only been training for about a year, maybe a year.
Mm-hmm.
And both gi and no gi, we do both. You have to train in both. But yeah, it's good to see people progress. But I should be putting together a few more people. And then I have another good training partner who I don't like to say I train him, but he's technically higher belt than me, but we drill all these things. We go through them on the CSW curriculum. And it's important to have a good training partner as well, and people who want to actually learn technique. A lot of people don't want to do that.
Yeah,
they just roll.
Yeah, show up 30 minutes late for class and miss the technique, go straight into the roll.
Yeah, and I totally get that, but the rolling part of it, and I think Eric Paulson said this, is it's not a guaranteed thing. It's like a gift,
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, you never know when your last roll is going to be. You don't know those things, and you want to, it's like a reward. You start doing technique, and then if you can hit that technique when you roll, that's the muscle memory. It kicks in.
Yeah.
But but anyways, I was talking about the other student who, it was good to see him go. He was like, "Whoa, I just roll with that brown belt, and then that brown belt, and yeah."
That's the coach's heart you have, man. To see the people, come in and start and progress, it really is a great thing to be a part of,
My first student, like legit first student, which was early pandemic. Yeah, it was like August 2020, September 2020. And I gave him his blue belt last December. And he trained more than everybody. Like he's super young, super focused, but more importantly, just open to learning.
Yeah.
Really smart kid. And it was cool to give him. I gave him my blue belt. I had a blue belt and I gave it to him.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Now what's on the horizon for martial arts for you? You gonna open up a little storefront in Reseda right next to Johnny Lawrence, or
right now it's weird, because I have a talent agency. There is a strike going on, and so that's challenging dealing with for film and TV. There's no strike for the commercial world, but maybe in a few years, maybe Reseda. There's no gym in Reseda that does jiu-jitsu. You have Tarzana, you have Northridge, you have of course Studio City, Sherman Oaks. but I feel like there's a good possibility, like Reseda or these other areas that people kind of, I don't say disrespect these other little communities, but people don't get excited about Reseda, don't get excited about Canoga Park. But like what we were talking about, there's like in movies, like kind of like 1980s kind of vibes. There's still a little bit of that in these surrounding areas that are a little depressed in terms of the communities. So if there could be a good gym in those areas, I think people be like, oh, I thought I only had to go to these other like fancy areas to train, which training, and I think Carlson Gracie talked about that, which what he was about. Training should be open to everybody.
Yeah.
Someone can't afford training. First of all, training, most gyms, it's really expensive. It's super, super expensive.
What's the average in LA? What are people paying, like 200 or something a month in LA?
It must be at least 200 right now. It must be.
I know people in Houston charging that. I mean, I don't at my gym, but I know people in Houston charging that.
Yeah, before, I remember a few years ago, I think it was like 150, 160, but no, it's more than that now. But then you also have to buy their gi usually. You have to buy their rash guard.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a good marketing, but for the average person, hey, if I want to wear a t-shirt and some shorts to train, and you still can be a team, you still can have that team atmosphere. But you gotta be considerate of people's finances. Because most people, what is that called? Like if you have extra income, you're gonna use it for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, disposable income, yeah.
Disposable income. So but no, I think Reseda, Canoga Park, that'd be a cool spot. Like Reseda, there's no jiu-jitsu or grappling or submission wrestling in Reseda, but that Reseda be hip though. See, people think to be hip, you gotta like be in Calabasas or a fancier area, but no. You want hip, you gotta go to like a spot that needs a little extra help, and then you make that hip.
Yeah, Echo Park back in the day. Now Echo Park's super nice,
back in the
right?
day. Yeah, Echo Park now. Echo Park. So we're like, no, that's not cool. No offense to people who live there, but the real people who live there, they have to move because then it's all of a sudden it's like super hip, Lululemon and
Starbucks
stores.
Going to Starbucks. That's what they say now. Going to Starbucks.
We talked about that last week. Someone says Starbucks. I was like, who's this?
I did the same thing. My wife said it, like one of her friends, we're going to Starbucks. I'm like, what are you talking about? We can't even say Starbucks.
Hey, at least they didn't say, hey, I need to get time off because I'm going to Europe with my GF.
Then I would say, to train? Who are we training with in Europe? Let's go.
My GF.
Girlfriend, right? That's the GF. Don't tell me it's something else that I don't know about.
No, I think it's girlfriend.
Okay. I was getting worried, man. I'm like, God, I'm getting old.
That yesterday.
I'm getting old. My GF. So, so what about, when did you said you have a degree in, what'd you say your degree was in?
Yeah, it's kinesiology, concentration is exercise science, which is also the same as exercise physiology.
And how did you get into the film and television industry?
Yeah, I was when I graduated. Well, during my last semester of college, I wanted to take some acting classes at one of the community colleges where I was doing science classes.
Was it to meet girls?
No, honestly, it wasn't. It really wasn't. And people say that, but no, I really, for some reason, I wanted to like tell stories. For some reason, I watched a lot of different movies and things, and
Same here, yeah.
I did meet a girl in this one class, this acting class, which was the first A I had gotten in a really long time. But yeah, I won't go into that story. Nothing happened, but yeah, I took an acting class and a really good teacher, really amazing teacher. He talked about his teacher from New York City. And then I looked her up and she happened to be in LA. Her name is Susan Batson. She's a legend. She's like a Coral Belt of acting teaching. Like that's her thing. And she was in LA and I ended up studying there. And then I think I was personal training at the time also. And that's how I got into it. And then after a few years of doing that, and the challenge of trying to find an agent, like a good agent, like professional, reputable, not sleazy. It's pretty hard. So at some point I just realized, and I told my fiance at the time, I said, hey, I think we should start a talent agency. And that was in 2007 or 2008 when we actually started.
Did you know anything about representing talent? And
not
that means no. That means no. The pause right there. That means no. I didn't really fully consider my decision.
Yeah, I just knew though that if all these agents are around and they're all acting the same, I'm not talking about like the 1%. I'm not talking about Creative Artists Agency or William Morris, UTA. I'm talking about,
but that's so out of the person that moves to LA with their bags in hand, sleeping. Those agencies are so far away. They might well be in a different universe, you know?
Yeah, and 100%. But the thing is, you don't need them. You don't need them until they want you.
Yeah,
you don't need them twice. So there's all these other agencies out there, and most of them they're not very good. And so I already knew that because I had encounters with them. My friends had encounters with them. And so I had one book. I think I still have it. Just like it's about the mailroom and all these different stories. But
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But the main thing is it comes down to just customer service, keeping things straightforward. So even though I didn't work in a mailroom, coming up, being yelled at by a bunch of clowns, you learn by doing, and by just, it's same with martial arts, be humble and keep an open mind to learning. And so, yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, how do you do that? You don't know how to negotiate. It's like, how do you know I don't negotiate? I negotiate all the time, negotiating since I was born. Like, I can do whatever I want to do. If I don't know, then I'll ask questions. I'm not going to act like I know if I don't know. But what you find out very quickly is most other people don't know in the business. And so they do a lot of posturing. And so now doing it 15 years or 16 years, you can see what's going on real quick. And if it's something new they've never encountered, it's some big contract with some studio, or things that, a real quick story, and I won't get into the specific details, but there was a situation where it was a large show and the person left. They weren't with us anymore. And which was unprofessional, first of all, for them, because we got them this amazing opportunity. And out of the blue, this big studio, they sent all this money, and I was like, how do we do this here? And even the studios, even the lawyers, like, yeah, I don't know on that one. So the point is, you just have to jump in and you have to do it. And, don't hurt anybody and just be professional, and you figure it out. So even though I didn't work in a mailroom, I learned how to do it. And a lot of people are afraid of that. But even with martial arts, even with jiu-jitsu, if you don't know, then jump in and learn how to do it. Find the right team. You got to have a team. You got to have people around you. You can't do it by yourself. It's never that way at all.
Oh, trust me. I made this movie, and I can't say, Lion Killer. I can't say that I made it by myself, but there was a really talented small crew with me, and my wife helped me produce it. So I had plenty of help along the way. But, as the filmmaker, I tell people this all the time, like, you write it by yourself, then, you get a small crew and they're there, but eventually everybody else goes away onto their next project. And if you're the guy making a movie, you're kind of left pushing the boulder up the proverbial mountain by yourself for a good stretch of it,
Yeah.
And you really gotta dig deep and do all that. So the value of like having an agency or a manager or somebody there to not only give you moral support, but good business advice, I think is priceless. Go ahead.
Yeah,
you're about to say something.
Yeah, you got to have. In some people, though, I think more often people try to do it themselves, and then a lot of people are want to micromanage things, and sometimes it's hard. But that's why if you're working on a real production, or even if it's a small production, if you delegate the task, I worked on back in 2006, 2007. Excuse me. Walden Media, his Journey 3D. Brendan Fraser, Oscar winner Brendan Fraser now.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I was working on that as like a VFX assistant, and you can see how organized that company is and how they got everything situated. Even the office manager making sure the fridge is stocked up. Even though we found out he was taking the good deli meats.
You can never get away from human nature, bro. You know what I mean?
Keep listening to this podcast. Bring back the good deli meats. You can't take the good deli meats, but yeah,
the salami went first.
Now you left the salami. We're like, wait a minute, this isn't on the list. What happened? Nice guy though, nice guy. But then you learn. I actually talked to one of these producers. I'll say his name. His name is Mark Johnson. Incredible resume. Incredible. Making the best movies early on. I'm sure he's still doing a bunch of classic TV shows, and then new TV shows. But I had a conversation with him, and yeah, he's just, super organized, super professional. You got to delegate those tasks. I think for him, just learning from him, you can't do it yourself. You can't do it yourself. And so, yeah, if you have the right people, that's key.
So what would your advice be for somebody like myself who's, done a little bit, they made a movie, they, wrote a script, they're maybe done a few episodes of a show. What would be the advice you'd give to them?
For literary and for, well, first off, you don't have to enter your short film, your independent film in every single festival. You don't have to do that. Some people get a lot of satisfaction by doing that.
Yeah, some people it's their thing.
Yeah, and it's good to do it in a few different ones. Obviously, certain ones are extremely difficult to get into, but you and I can make a film festival tomorrow and put it up and have people charge and pay. Would that help that person who actually has a film in there? No, not at all. It only helps that person make money because it's just for profit. But certain film festivals maybe there's like new ones that are like legitimately cool. So it's important to budget, that kind of thing, because it does cost. And then also a good thing to do is, because it is difficult if you have a film, because TV's kind of, well, let's see, there's a strike right now, but TV, there's more things in TV, there's more things in new media, even though some of them, the contracts, it's another topic. But you want to copy, take advantage of what people who are in similar situations. Obviously, Robert Rodriguez, he was a trailblazer early on with what's the first movie?
El Mariachi.
El Mariachi. So, but
I'll still watch it about once, twice a year. I'll still pull it out and watch it. Yeah.
It's a DVD.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, it's not Blu-ray. It's the DVD, brother.
Do they have Blu-ray still?
Like in general, or?
Yeah, in general.
I think, I still buy Blu-rays. Is that gone?
But he one of the originals. But now, like, who has something in the past few years that was it on YouTube? Was it on TikTok? Was it on Instagram? And just being aware of those trends and then copying them. So, like before, people try El Mariachi, do a movie, and then or Blair Witch Project,
Clerks,
or Activity,
all
that stuff. But now it's not really movies. That's so much. It's more taking advantage of the online space. So I think it's important to copy and watch people. Obviously, if it's a unique story and it's really cool and different, that's key. But trying to pitch it and trying to get it at a movie studio, this or that, that's gonna be more challenging to do that. It doesn't mean you can't do it, but it's gonna be hard. I think it's easier if you really take advantage of all the online opportunities that are out there. It could be Amazon Prime, it could be YouTube, but taking advantage of that and keeping it
Amazon Prime, where you can watch Lion Killer, Tubi TV,
exactly,
Freevee, Roku channel.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, you know what? Lion Killer has been fully dubbed into Spanish on, I believe it's an app called Cine, or I just
cool.
discovered it. I was never notified, but it's a full dub. You can watch Lion Killer.
Oh, I should, yeah. I'll try to watch it later. But yeah, doing those things like what you're doing. And yeah, it's hard. And then if you do have the ability for different people to watch it, and if someone is connected by it, then it's gonna be easier for you to get it sold to like legit places that going to help you go further in your director career, your filmmaker career.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's definitely hard. But if you're a real filmmaker, you just don't want to get caught up in just doing like I'm gonna do a film festival every weekend. Oh, why? And
after you've done a few of those, like the Luster, unless it's your thing, in my whole film festival career, I guess you could say there's just one film festival. There's a mid-tier film festival that I would do again because they really the people running it were running it for all the right reasons. It was Cinema on the Bayou in Lafayette, Louisiana, and the husband and wife team are super passionate about it, really support their filmmakers, and are doing a really cool thing down there that I would really support in the future. But the majority, even the lower end or the mid tier, the A-list tier is so hard, like you just mentioned, so hard to get into for so many different reasons. But yeah, for the most part, like you said, most places it's just a money grab.
I'm idealistic, or if you made something that's really like unique, and it's what was the Oscar-winning movie last few months ago? Everywhere.
Oh yeah, with Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, like it's pretty unique. It takes concepts from different movies, obviously, but it hit the spot for people. It hit the spot people who I won those Oscars. And so if you can find something that's unique and people connect to it, whether it's just entertainment, maybe a little bit of emotion, and if it's accessible and people can see it, like a different, if it's a young generation that can watch it on TikTok, watch it on YouTube, really like start spreading the word. And then if you can have someone kind of take advantage of that and really push it out there, then everyone's going to notice. I feel like that's easier to do now than it would have been 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because technology is so much better. Like when I was doing different short films and making things, what we're using, what was the camera? Dang, I forget.
It wasn't even a DSLR, it was pre-DSLR.
Yeah,
you mentioned 07. That's right about when DSLRs were coming out.
2005.
Yeah.
2004. What was that one that everyone used back then?
Just a Canon. What?
The
Mark II or what? Mark I?
I think it was. But yeah, it was like right before that, right around then.
Yeah, there was a few. Yeah.
Yeah, it was before DLSR. That's how old I am.
Now, when you're thinking about taking on a client, what's your process? What are you looking for, and what are you trying to get out of, and what are you trying to get them to accomplish?
Yeah, if we take on, we are WGA franchise, but it became super busy during the pandemic when we did that. So we're not taking writers on right now, but for actors for on camera, it's voiceover, commercial, film, TV, print. Some people say modeling for print, but that's not really an accurate term. It's I could book you on a print job. Like you could book a print job, and you don't have to be like a fashion model. That's like 1990s stuff. That's so dated. And there's a lot of agencies, first of all, that act like that. Like it's like, bro, it's not 1993.
Yeah,
you can be whatever size you want to be. You can be whatever height you want to be. But when we take on a client, we're looking at people who are professional, people who are unique. People who have different skill sets. Language ability is important if you speak different languages. So, because the truth is, a lot of people in LA, I had this conversation yesterday. A lot of people think that a lot of actors in LA speak Spanish, that may be Hispanic.
It's on their resume, I'm sure.
Sometimes it is, yeah. And most don't, though. Most actors in LA, even if they say they speak Spanish, they're not fluent. because Los Angeles has a large Hispanic community from all over the world, but those are not actors. Those just people have regular jobs. So it's important to have different skill sets. It's important to be open-minded. If I ask a guy, like, for example, let's say he's receding right here, but I go, you know what? Can you grow a mustache? I want you to have a mustache. Like overall, like we're going to submit you to different projects with a mustache. Because if you have the receding hair, it's like a 1980s, 1990s kind of vibe, which is a reference point for a lot of things.
Yeah, he could be a cop.
Yes.
A detective on CSI.
Yeah. And so it could be a commercial, and it's, for AT&T Uverse, and guy comes over and he's like, how much internet are you using? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Got the mustache, and it just works. So if someone's not really open to that, we're like, well, I don't know if you're gonna get many auditions with that look, because you got to make it. If your character, don't try to like make yourself look. First of all, that means like character means like Steve Buscemi. He's a character actor. So when we do a breakdown, they might say we want someone who's like a Steve Buscemi type, or we want someone who is like whatever's hip, whatever's current. Like maybe the people from Abbott Elementary, like maybe they look like they're a teacher from that show, or we want somebody who looks like Tilda Swinton, whatever it is. So you're looking for people who fit different categories. It's easy to understand what their type is.
Yeah. What would my type be?
Well, I would probably say grow your hair out.
Like on the top of the head?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. You grow your hair out. Wait, you're like 6'2", right?
I'm 6 foot, 6 foot even.
Yeah. And you're a big guy, you're so for example, physicality is important in terms of casting. So if somebody is 6'6" and they're 195 pounds, it's pretty skinny, right?
Yeah, really skinny.
Yeah. I had a client who's like that, and he's very German looking features. And I'm kind of segueing, but he did a commercial. It was like a good commercial, Nissan commercial, directed by, I'm just going to say the names, I guess. I think it was Mark Forrester who directed it. And I think Brie Larson was in it. Maybe I should. Anyways, but he did this, he booked this commercial, and it was a big commercial. And I think he had I forget where they shot it, but it was a few hours outside of LA. And he waited around the whole time. And he was booked, and he didn't message me. So I always tell people, like clients, hey, just message us. If it's a weekend, we might not get to it right away, but he waited on set for hours and hours. He was in the holding area, and then the next day, and then they're like, oh, you can go home. He didn't shoot anything. And I think what happened was, because I saw the storyboards, sometimes I see them, sometimes I don't. And I think he was like out there gonna like get picked up by Brie Larson and the scene or something. I saw the final version, and he wasn't in it, but it was weird that they cast him. And I think my point is, he was maybe a little too peculiar in the scene, like in terms of his presence, that they just didn't even use him in the commercial at all. It was too unique, too scary, I think. But
because his look was too.
So. But the thing is, Derek, they go through a whole process of audition, callback, maybe even another callback for a commercial.
Yeah.
And so he booked it. And I don't know, somebody, I'm not saying names, but I feel like somebody was like, why did we hire him? I think he's too And then he didn't get, and then he had to join the union too. He was a must join. So he made no money. Because California's not a right to work state like Texas or
Texas, yeah.
Atlanta.
But I mean, even the actors I know that they really want to join, but it's expensive to join.
It's really expensive to join.
Yeah.
And so if you join a job and you don't even break even, yeah, it's hard. Like if you're a must join in one of those states that you have to. But in terms of what we look for, like that person, they're a really good actor. Even though they didn't get used on set, they're a great actor. They did a episode of Star Trek Enterprise. Super cool scene. But he's really unique. So we try to find actors that stand out, that are unique. And that comes down to your physical presence. It's important to have acting training, but it's not the only thing. Being professional, being open to learning, it's important. And so, you want to find a variety of actors. You know, some agencies just have blonde hair, blue eye women. That's cool, but we have a diverse group of actors. We're inclusive, we're open-minded, so we have more opportunities for the people we represent.
Now, what about your voice talent? I've been thinking about hopping in the VO game, baby. What's your advice for me?
For sure. You know, for voiceover, it's almost more competitive because the way the voiceover world works, they changed it, I think, like 15, maybe about 2008 or 2009. I think even before we did voiceover, they used to do voice casting in person, like commercials.
Hmm. Well, you would go into a studio and you would just read on the, you know, and they would record it.
Yeah, that's what auditions were like. But then that changed. I think it was called Voice Bank. I think that was the website. And they changed it in terms of that. So then everything became electronic, send an MP3. But then that opened up to the whole United States.
Yeah, anybody anywhere.
Yeah, and they'll release the same jobs. Or not that website, but now when they release jobs, they're going to all different places. And so sometimes those agencies change the rates of what they are. And we're like, no, this is the rate. Like, that's a lower rate. And so California has this, like, the strictest rules for talent agencies and licensing.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're sending out voiceover, we're pretty specific of like the kind of voice, like what they're looking for. They'll give reference. They always use actors as references. Matt Damon does a lot of voiceover.
Yeah.
And so, or there's like Allison Janney does all the Kaiser stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there's these traits.
I think I'm more like the Allstate guy. You know what I mean? I could get in there and get some of that sweet Allstate money.
Yeah, they want they want unique traits. And so if you hear the Sleep Number voices,
mm-hmm.
that's our client. He's been, you know, fortunately he's been doing this for a while.
Awesome.
But yeah, there'll be a lot during. Does football start today or is that next week?
I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, I thought everybody football in Texas.
If it's not somebody getting punched in the face or getting choked, it's hard for me to watch.
Yeah.
But you know, we are big Astros fans. I know you might feel differently than that in LA, but yeah, I stay up to date with what's up with the Astros, the illustrious Astros.
Astros are I like Astros. Astros are, you know, these messages here. Astros. Wait, didn't George W. Bush own the Astros, right?
Mm-mm.
No, I thought he owned the Astros. Wait, he owned the Rangers?
But was he like I think he did have a stake in the Rangers or something like that, yeah.
What are the Rangers up to? They're still playing baseball.
Yeah, they're still out there. Who knows what's going on? Since Nolan Ryan left, right? Who knows?
Nolan Ryan, legend.
Yeah.
But for voiceover, yeah, you know, we send them out, and if you're what works though, if you're in another state, you can still work because you're the local recording studio, and then they patch it in, they do their whole thing. But no, there's probably stuff for you for voiceover. I think, yeah, you know, you have a unique voice, and that's really, yeah, it's just unique voices. Like if you watch a Taco Bell commercial and you listen to the voices, they're going to try to be like, what is it, Gen Z, whatever generation it is.
Yeah, Y.
Yeah, relatable and, you know, but
yeah, youth voices, yeah, young voices.
Like Mountain Dew would be like something like, oh, it's cool, let's have Mountain Dew.
Are you thirsty? Yeah.
Right.
But
Mountain Dew. I haven't had Mountain Dew in a long time.
Yeah, me neither. I'm off the sodas. I'm trying to cut back sugars though, man. Trying to slim down a little bit. So
yeah. What do you weigh different than last year?
Yeah, I'm down about 45
wow.
pounds since you met me, probably. Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Trying to look like Chris over here at LA. That's the thing, dude. When I moved to LA, of course, we moved from the South. You know, raised in Louisiana, moved to the South, and everyone was so thin. And what do you know? Next thing I know, dude, I'm super thin. Then I moved back to the South, dude. Gain that weight back, eat that. You know.
I want to go to Louisiana. I really want to go there.
Oh man, it's great. You know, as far as culturally, you know, that's my culture, and we talked about cultures a little bit before we started recording. But like,
hey, hold on, buddy.
Go ahead. Everything all right?
I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they were like arguing or something and yelling. And yeah, my daughter yesterday, she got upset with her buddy Charlie, and she hit him, and he actually just pushed her. And I was like, we don't hit here, we strangle. Come on.
Right. So yeah, let's hop back up to the martial arts a little bit again. So what are your thoughts on talked a little bit about jiu-jitsu. What about JKD? What's your thoughts on training JKD? Jeet Kune Do.
Jeet Kune Do. I feel like because I've trained with Guru Dan and another couple schools that were under him with JKD, for me, it's the philosophy. There are the drills that you do and the techniques and but to me it goes back to like, you can't have tunnel vision with those drills. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean JKD. I don't think Bruce Lee, I'm not an expert on Bruce Lee at all, but from what I've read and learned, I think he was pretty open-minded with his training and his teaching. And so for me, the JKD is, finding your way. No limitations. So you want to use all these arts, because if you go in for a takedown, before you get to the takedown, if you cut the distance, you have your long range, your mid range, your short range, it all connects. It's really all one thing. You could say it's mixed martial arts, of course, but MMA, obviously, we're not using knives, we're not using sticks, we're not using swords. But at the end of the day, even if you don't have those knives or swords, then you go into empty hand. And so empty hand is a part of JKD. It's a part of Filipino martial arts. So what I learned during the past few years, because I did so much of JKD before, is you kind of need everything. For me, everything complements one another. And so I remember when I was posting some videos, and one of the students I used to train with, they said, hey, put those sticks down, and come back over here and play with us. And I was like, that's so weird on many levels. Like, I don't want to play with you guys. I want to train. I know they're being nice, but I'm not going to put the sticks down. You never put the sticks down if you train Kali. It's a weird thing to say. But in terms of JKD, I started training back into the drills, those different drills that you do. I prefer to do more. I always want to do more for all the arts, but I usually do more jiu-jitsu than any of them right now. But I feel like it's weird. I feel like JKD and Kali, especially those arts, is like the reward after doing grappling. It's like, this is like a gift. It's like a reward to do these other arts as well, and then implement them and put them together. But that's how I first started. It's when people only say, I had a conversation with someone a few days ago, they're black belt in jiu-jitsu, and they're talking about no-gi is like stupid and it's just for people who want to do MMA. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's accurate at all, what you're saying. And he's like, there's just so much more to do with lapels and gi. And it's just silly to have those conversations. There's like really serious things happening, and to get like upset if someone's trains in no gi and gi is the best. And I said, I think they're both valuable.
They're both fun too, just go out, have some fun, both of them.
Yeah, they're both fun. And the same with like when you get into like JKD or Thai boxing. And I think the most open-minded people are people who train in multiple arts. And you could say JKD concepts. But I met someone last week at the grappling camp. They were training at Inasanto Academy. They were down here from Canada. They just started jiu-jitsu, and they were a little overwhelmed because there was a lot of stuff to take in last weekend. But I just told him, I said, don't go to just a jiu-jitsu school. If you go to just a jiu-jitsu school, the culture is very different than a place like CSW, because CSW is a unique place with all different arts, and they incorporate them all. And so you want to have an open mind, and that's a big part of training. It's super, super important. I've trained at a lot of different places when I travel throughout, the country or the world. I think I trained. Yeah. So you get to be open-minded. It's super important. That's what I take from JKD. I mean,
Now,
trapping is important. It's super important to know how to do trapping
yeah,
and go into those different things because it's muscle memory. It's the sensitivity. There's elements of CLOT might be really challenging. It might not work, but you can still learn it. And then if you don't need to use it, if it doesn't fit into your toolbox, then you don't have to use it. Same with grappling.
yeah. Have you done any Wing Chun? You spoke of trap a little bit. Any seminars on
No,
Wing Chun?
just the stuff from, I mean, incorporated with different JKD or
Yeah,
just those, but not just that specifically. I have a friend who I do a lot of grappling with. He's a black belt in Wing Chun.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I'm interested in trying to, check out a little more because I came in, through the JKD lens with a lot of these different arts, So I'll be interested in doing a few seminars just to incorporate more
yeah.
of that stuff. But like you said, it's all fun and all having a posture of learning how to learn, as you said.
Yeah. That's what's fun. I feel like some people quit. A lot of people quit because I don't think they're learning and then they're not having fun. I've seen so many people quit. We're talking about movies. Back to Future, yeah, part 2, or is it Back to Future 1 where the picture and everyone's fading away?
Mm-hmm, one, yeah.
Right. So every time I look at like when I got a blue belt in jiu-jitsu and I'm like, oh, they faded away. Oh, they faded away. Wait, Marty McFly started to fade away. I was like, oh no, it's so true. And I
Yeah.
think those people, most of them, I think they weren't really learning because the instruction, the curriculums, and so they weren't having fun. If you're having fun,
Yeah.
you usually try to figure out how to continue somehow.
Yeah. And I guess as an instructor, it's I always want to keep the class fun, keep the class engaging, challenging. But as also a student, you know, especially with jujitsu specifically, a lot, not the entirety of the curriculum, but some of it is up to me to figure out. And to me, that's part of the fun part too. Like, listen to Coach Eric, he'll go through it like that, right? He'll show it to you and then go do it. And, I got the gist. Now I've got to kind of figure it out. And to me, that's a fun part as well, a challenging part. But I think some students do want it just to be laid out. And, I'll see students get frustrated and want you to explain it in more detail. Different people have different styles of learning. But I think as a student, it's important to well, let me try to figure this thing out. Most of the most famous guitar players learn to play with a guitar in a room by themselves, right?
Yeah. A lot of those, those people who are experts in their field, there's a lot of self-learning, kind of having some time.
Yeah.
I was training last week at this camp and nice guy, but we learned the technique super quick. And he started kind of correcting me. And I was like, I said, I'm kind of still processing this. I'm figuring it out. I'm solving the problem right now.
Yeah. That's the good part.
Yeah, that's the good part. I'm being creative also. we're not being graded on this right this second.
Yeah.
It's different. Like some people there, was it left brain?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, you gotta get it exactly right. But that's not the idea. The idea is not the technique. It's the concepts behind it. Because we're doing literally 20 different things. That is the concept, not the technique. So if you know the concept, you can do the technique in 10 different ways in 30 seconds. That's the idea. But I didn't get too woke on him.
So we're about to wrap up here, but so tell me everything you've learned. It could be from your career in as an agent. You call yourself an agent or an agency owner, or what do you say?
I mean, I'm an agent. I'm
You're
an
an
agency
agent.
owner, but I don't ever say agency owner though, unless someone's like, "Can I talk to your boss?" And I'm like, "I am my boss." That happened
So,
once.
in LA, I'm sure, bro. Come on, bro.
We were
Real
at our
quick, did the guy ever come back to fight you? The guy that you started this journey?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's literally how this long story happened. No, what happened was, no, he never came over. I never saw him again, and I just remember we had a mutual friend, and they were doing a movie, and I was too busy. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this movie. It was about zombies and stuff. but I never saw him again. And when you start to go down the martial arts path, yeah, you get a lot of confidence, and yeah, you don't want to fight. That's like what you don't want to fight. So if you have a good martial arts gym, most people, if they're legit, they're like, yeah, I'm not trying to fight anybody. Like if I have to, if it's like my life, yeah. But no, I never seen him again. I'm live in the neighborhood, and I don't ever see him at all. So it's peculiar. But
go ahead.
But there was somebody I did go up to the other day, totally different person, totally different situation. But they got really weirdly aggressive with me in a meeting, and which is strange because I'm like, I just asked everyone to talk one at a time, like chill, just relax. So I went up to them the other day and I just put my hand out and said, hey, let's start fresh. Like I'm not trying to fight with anybody, and let's just start fresh. And he's like, I really appreciate that. They're a little mental, I was like, but then I said to him, I go, if you ever want to learn jiu-jitsu, let me know. And they go, no, I don't want to learn jiu-jitsu.
There's another art form. So yeah, so tell me, what would be your advice? Could be from your career as an agent, could be from the martial arts, something you've learned along the way. What would your advice be for people out there?
Well, I think in terms of advice, just overall is, everybody, all of a sudden we get like, we have our preconceived ideas about things. It could be things, it could be people, organizations. You always want to step back. I've been taking a course, public leadership credential at Harvard County School of Government. And a good thing I picked up from that, which is related to everything really, is, get up on that balcony and try to be objective, look down, diagnose the problem, try to find a solution to it that is, empathetic, sympathetic. That's, what's for the greater good, essentially. But overall, it's about being open-minded and trying to, we all have our biases. It's just inherent in everybody. So we don't think that, but we do. And so I try to be objective in the situation, and be open-minded, learn, have fun, be nice to people, like you don't know what someone's going through. And I think that helps everything you do in your life, and helps everything in your martial arts, makes you a better practitioner, being open-minded. Everyone's different, and eat good food too.
Yeah. Wise words. What's that?
Watch good movies, eat good food, hang out with your friends if you can, find the time, make the time. Everybody has time. You just got to figure out how to make the time.
That is true, man. That's true. Well, Chris, man, I want to thank you for your time. And next time I'm out there, let's get together and roll around a little bit. Or, you're always welcome to come down to Texas, go to an Astros game, and then a little training.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I would love to go to an Astros games and go to Texas. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to come on your podcast. Hopefully it wasn't too boring but yeah, I love movies. I love TV shows. I love all that stuff, and of course martial arts. But I appreciate it. And
have you had a chance to cast any martial artists in anything? That's
yeah, we had this one client. I think during the pandemic, I think she moved to Hawaii, and she was pretty badass. She's on the 8711.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All those dudes. But she was on their team.
Chad's team, yeah.
Yeah, and because she was,
I say Chad like I know the guy, right? Like,
Chad.
Chad.
Chad. He's a good dude. We're talking about the John Wick director. If people don't know who we're talking.
Yeah.
On a first name basis.
Yeah.
First name basis, even though I've never met him.
Me neither. But, Chad, if you're out there, I'd love to meet you. I'd love to see the facility.
Yeah, Chad, you respect, the STX program, Savate Thai Cross training. You invented that, right? Along with Coach Paulson. But she's on their team, and the thing is, for stunts and martial arts, most stunt people are always busy. They can't audition at all. Mm-hmm. But this awesome actress, she's always, she's working, but she booked a bunch of different commercials and things are blowing up. She's, falling through windows, doing hits and kicks. I think that's the first thing that comes to mind that I think we booked. I'm pretty sure we booked some other people on some martial arts. I'm biased. So if I see someone who does jiu-jitsu, I'm like, hey, yeah, sure, I'll sign. But then you quickly realize, like, sometimes, yeah, some people aren't inconsistent. They might not be professional, but no, I definitely have some people who do a lot of martial arts, but they don't ask for it a lot.
Mhm.
And films and TVs and commercials. Okay, real quick. One time there was the Ben Affleck movie, The Accountant.
Mhm.
Remember that movie?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a cool,
It is.
underrated. But they were looking for specific martial arts for kids, like between like 6 to 10 years old. But they didn't want jujitsu. They wanted silat. They wanted kali. Specifically those arts.
That's hard to find that young.
Yeah, very young. So I asked people at the Inosanto Academy, and I think there was a couple people they found, but I don't know where they found the kids who got cast, but they really wanted those arts. They had to be Southeast Asian arts. It couldn't be the other things. And yeah, they do a lot of like Kali on NCIS LA, I think, because
Mhm.
I forget his name, but he's a producer of the show and he does a lot of Sayak Kali.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Who knows? Maybe I'll be in John Wick 5 or something.
Maybe.
You
Or is
never
it
know.
six?
Who knows? No, I think they just did 4, right?
Or I'm gonna watch it.
You haven't seen 4? Go check it out, man.
I think it's gonna be on Stars like in a week or something.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. It's good.
Good.
I enjoyed it. Yeah. Very good.
I didn't talk about it, but I used to see Keanu Reeves all the time at this gym when I was training people and just regular fitness training. And he'd come in there, super humble guy.
I'll
And
bet.
his trainer was super cool and just looked like regular trainer with other trainers, like were very like, hip,
Mhm.
and they're hip, but he was super humble and yeah, cool dude. I'd always have like be looking at the timer and I'd have a watch. And I kept looking, so he thought I was staring at him. I'm like, sorry, bro. I'm just looking at the clock above your head. I'm just timing her.
Did he say it's okay? Just in that Keanu Reeves tone.
He's gonna
Yeah.
I had
It's all right.
conversations with Ryan Gosling a couple of times.
Oh, that's cool.
It's weird. Like, do you have another minute? I forgot the story.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Uh, he was doing this was like it was years ago. He was doing some workout. Or no, I was working out myself, and then he kept saying, "Oh, hey." He has like a New York accent. He goes, am I blocking you?" I'm like, block? No, what do you mean blocking you? You're not blocking me. And he's like, no, like, am I blocking the mirror? Like, you can't see your workout. You're doing the workout. You can't see me. And I was like, oh, I said, no, it's cool. It's cool, buddy. I'm good. I'm like, I'm Chris, by the way. He's like, oh, I'm Ryan. I'm like, I know. And then it's just like this weird, awkward conversation. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
I'll dig him too. Drive, especially like films like that.
Yeah, he was good. If there's a well-known person, I made my clients do exercises in front of them.
I'll really try to get.
Yeah. Channing Tatum was doing dips. He was
Uh-huh.
doing dips. And then I was like counting them. And I was like, I told my client, I said, all right, we're going to do dips. And they were like really nervous. And then afterwards, I said, you just did more dips than Channing Tatum.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have stories like that in Houston. It's like maybe I ran into Altuve at HEB or something, or yeah.
Rihanna kicked the stability ball and was rolling way towards me. And I was like, I got it. And I was like, oh, here you go. And she's like, eh.
Rihanna.
Like, that's when Chris Brown was with her. Chris Brown was right there too. And
Yeah.
didn't work out.
That LA life. The LA life with Chris.
And literally walked down the street and you got RSA there, Ridley Scott's company.
Mm-hmm.
And Ridley Scott's right there talking with somebody that's going over something. I was like, damn, it's Ridley Scott right there.
Dude, that is awesome.
Yeah, that's in West Hollywood. West Hollywood's like that.
That's that LA life dude, that's why people move across the country, man, to be a part of that, honestly,
Always run to Fabio at Japanese places.
Fabio. Is he still like looking good?
He's in Tarzana, actually. Yeah, he looks the same.
Yeah.
I heard he doesn't tip, though.
He's Fabio. Why would he need a tip?
He needed
Come on.
tip.
He's still spending that I can't believe it's not butter money.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I said to him, I saw him at a random restaurant way across town. I'm like, every time I see you, Fabio, you're at a sushi place. I think he laughed.
Good old Fabio.
Well, thank you, man.
Love Fabio. No, hey man, thank you for coming, man. Thank you for coming. And I wish you all the success, not only in your martial arts, but also, with your agency and in life, man. So, and hopefully we'll be able to get together soon and hang out in person.
Hey, you too. All the success to you in your gym, and that's really cool. I always watch it and pay attention, and then your film career too. Keep doing it, man.
Yeah, awesome. Man. I'll catch up with you.
All right, see you, Derrick. See you, bro.
And there you have it, my conversation with my friend all the way from the San Fernando Valley, Chris Ahuja. If you're interested in connecting with him, his links are in the description. You can also follow my new graphic novel, The Gentleman's Guild. Yes, I'm making a graphic novel. It's called The Gentleman's Guild with artist Ebi Canales. You can sign up for the mailing list now. The link for that is also in the description. And don't forget to watch Lion Killer, my debut feature film. That's right, I made a movie. It's called Lion Killer. It stars Regina Ting-Chen, who's currently on season 4 of Stranger Things. You can watch it at Amazon Prime, Tubi TV, Freevee, or you can pop on over to the Roku channel. Thanks again for watching FURYCAST. Help me get the word out by commenting down below, liking this video, smashing that subscribe button, and even sharing this video on your social media pages. Till next time, peace.